Happy New Year! Whoop, 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 whoop. Happy, we're in 2021. It's your view. Welcome to the show. I want to wish you a Happy New Year. My name is Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Tokwe in the building.
In the building, yo. 2021, here we go. I'm super
What did you do last night?
I watched.
How did you cross over?
Yes, so I watched service. I watched my church service day, Star Christian Center. Apparently, all churches now joined my church to cross over earlier because of the COVID.
Making sense concerning crossover. So
well, we've been crossing over for over 10 years between 7 to 9 for over, like they start made a decision that it's not a biblical injunction.
Yeah.
It is a decision being made as a culture doctrine. And so I crossed over. It was very, so the truth is, I missed most part of the prayer because my kids were really disturbing. I really wanted them to sit down. I wished I was in the church. I missed being in the church.
It's not the same. I don't know.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. But when everybody had gone to bed, I now sat down to watch, and I watched the one for Winners.
I watched Winners. I enjoyed Winners. I thank God I went to Fountain. I enjoyed Fountain of Life. They had a fantastic choir.
Online, right?
Online. Yes, she was just
online.
Surfing.
My church. How was yours?
Okay, so I've never been going to church for crossover thing.
Yeah.
Just stay at home with the family and make sure you stay until it strikes 12. So my husband did the usual. We hugged. Yay! Happy 2021. So that's how we did ours.
Exactly.
But first of all, I need to talk about my attire. So I know many people across Nigeria will recognize it. This is the wrapper for Jukun people. So you find Jukun people in Taraba State, parts of Plateau, Benue. They all form. Like if you're reading our history, they are the people that they came from were called the kingdom. It was called the Kwararafa Kingdom before, of course, colonialism and different kinds of wars between the houses and things like that. So the Jukun people mostly along the central middle belt. Yes. Right. Okay. So this is their wrapper, and the way it usually tied across their chest with coral and with white. I had to wear it today because my Auntie Favor sent it all the way from Jalingo. If I had not worn it today, she would have been really upset. So I hope you like it.
It represents very well. Auntie Smart made our outfit.
Yes, Auntie Smart.
It's not in the building.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Nima?
Oh, fine. Let me just pick
I love your sleeves.
This is such Mariam sleeves.
First of all, we need to talk about your sleeves. I need to talk about your sleeves. This is
So this was a year ago gift from Kike at Odawu. I had it forever. So this morning I was just pouring out of the camera. What's wrong with this? When I just started, no one
people don't understand.
Wear it because of the sleeves, of course.
Also, you didn't wear it because of the sleeves.
Yes,
and that is what makes it stand out.
Very loud.
So nice.
Oh, beautiful. Then my stickers is from Miriam. So me, I'm a girl of gifts. Plenty gifts. I just decided to put everything together. Thank you for everyone who was there in 2021. But let me say happy birthday to our fan, Ahmad Usman Berry. He lives very far away, somewhere I can't remember, and he's a big fan. Today is his birthday. And there's a tweet message for a family member from her husband and children. I had it open.
While you're looking at that, let me look at this one. It says, good evening, Mom. My name is Hilary Ademiju. I'm using my mom's account. Saturday is my grandma's birthday. She's going to be 84. His name, this is his grandpa, actually. I'm going to wear my glasses. His name is Pa Onobanjo Anthony Olumuyiwa. He will turn 84. I want to wish him a happy birthday, Grandpa. Happy birthday in advance. I think it's tomorrow. Please. And there's one more I have. I just want to give you, let me see. I think her name is, let me get that. Is your one ready?
Yes. So this is a message to Dr. Ebele Donku. Her birthday is tomorrow, and she's a fan of our show. Her husband, Joseph, and her son, Ife Chukwudi, both based in the UK, are wishing her happy birthday. They say she's the glue that holds everything together. You know the way the women just make the house warm and everything. So happy birthday, ma, from your family and from us here on your birthday.
Okay, so I have from Professor Richie Oluwafemi. He's wishing Mrs. Elizabeth Folashade Oyeleke happy birthday. Tomorrow is her birthday, but we're wishing her birthday today because when you're
I have a birthday and I can't
it's
find
my
it.
sister's birthday tomorrow as well.
Plenty birthday. Oh,
So happy birthday, Ramatu.
January. My mom and my daughter are January people. First week of the
Okay,
year.
so we have to run. We have to
Monday
run.
is still
But,
different.
let's go on the break. There's a lot of celebration that's going to be happening today. We're going to be thanking God and reflecting on what we're going to be doing, what we did last year, and hoping that to have some great plans for this year. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying. We're going to start with the nation. Buhari, government to reorganize security apparatus and personnel. Nigeria's debt hit 32.2 trillion naira, says DMO. Weapons being ferried into Nigeria on camels and ACF. So ACF alleges. Elumelu Foundation targets 3,000 female SMEs, and judge's absence stalls suit seeking Obaseki's sack.
UK to feed.
Okay. It's not in here. It's not here. Okay, UK to feed 440,000, 430,000 with £7 million in Northeast. Okay, let's take the major headline.
Yes, the president has given his New Year's speech, and so papers are picking some areas to talk on. And according to him, there will be an overhaul of our security apparatus to show results, because of in responding to all the insecurity that we have suffered in 2020, is committing now to to rejigging and getting us results in his speech. How it's going to happen, because people are now suggesting it means that of course there will be a rejig of.
We're not even analyzing the president's speech. Are we that disenchanted with the speech?
Well, no,
I didn't watch the speech.
I listened to it. I listened to it on Classic FM this morning. And
Well, he
The
said
president
something
has
that
promised that same thing. He has even said
no,
it
but
last
this year. So now analysts are now suggesting that it means that
we can analyze this from like over a few days. We'll read it properly. But he did say something that I thought was interesting. He said this nation, this Nigeria, will survive and thrive. So I think that in itself, that's a sound bite we can actually use from him. So we can take that. Yeah.
Okay, so the Arewa Consultative Forum is claiming that camels are being used to bring in some
weapons.
Very hardcore weapons into our country. They said rocket-propelled grenades are being brought in, anti-aircraft guns, that very soon it seems the terrorists will be better and more armed than our Nigerian military. Wow. And they said that they are not in charge of security, so they are letting those who are in charge hear through the media that this is what is happening. This particular region has been terrorized, continuously being terrorized, but we haven't heard anything from our defense headquarters. That the report says they were breached, but nothing, they couldn't get to them. So we'll hear what they have to say, if they're even aware that such happens or if it's just a claim.
So yesterday I told the story of the fact that 800 children are at the risk of malnutrition. About 300,000 children might die in the course of this year. Well, UK is going to be feeding 430,000 Nigerians using 7 million naira. Currently, they are the second highest donor to Nigeria.
7 million pounds,
7 million pounds. Yes, 7 million pounds. They've donated. Yes, they've donated about 85 million pounds to Nigeria generally. But this year they are going to be trying to feed people, because they said that about 1.2 million people are living in areas that are not accessible due to insecurity, and 3.4 million are living in acute insecurity and have food crisis, acute food crisis rather. They have acute food crisis. We're hearing this thing over and over again from developed countries. We need to see, the president needs to address the challenges in the Northeast, especially with the risk of insecurity and its impact on feeding people that are living there.
Okay, moving on to the nation. Rising COVID-19 cases. NUT cautions federal government against January 18 schools resumption date. The Aspirations Commission condemns police killing of 27-year-old Nigerian in Ireland. Community kicks demands 500 million naira as Lagos officials demolish house. Sanwo-Olu signs 1.1 trillion naira budget. FG will ensure speedy determination of corruption cases, says Buhari. Camels now bringing grenades, anti-aircraft guns, others, and Nigeria's debt profile rises to 32.2. So, major headline NUT.
Yeah, so the NUT Secretary General Mike Ikene has cautioned the federal government on the January 18th resumption date, saying that if the coronavirus continues to go, infection continues to rise, that the teachers will stay home. And in the same vein, the NMA president, Mr. Innocent Uja, also cautioned federal government to start to, to refill oxygen. That is aware that most of the hospitals responding to this are out of oxygen. If we are really, really sincere about combating this, pandemic, these are not things that we should be finding out now. I expect that the date for resumption ordinarily would be changed because the new strain is not only faster to spread, it's quicker to kill, and we don't really have the things that we need to fight it.
But I think, as somebody said earlier, we need data.
We need data.
Do we know
developed countries are saying that the spread doesn't happen from school. Spread isn't happening from. We don't even know what is spreading it right now. We don't know what is bringing it in. We don't.
Even the first strain, we didn't fight it based on data.
It's easy to close churches, to close
schools. What are we doing? What's the strategy?
So there are other different things.
We do have data. When we hear about people going for testing, that is data. The number of people that go for testing, the number of people who get positive results versus negative results. So we do have data of places in different communities and the number of people who have this. We have data, but the problem that's always been we don't know how to use our data. That is why you and I now have to go and queue up somewhere because of NIN and
not analyzing our properly because we have, if we can contact trace where they get infected from, we're not doing all of that. Oxygen is an issue that has been in Nigerian hospitals for years. People have died.
What I consider a major spread is the transport system that we have.
Exactly.
Across board, even with the new strain, they are still overloading buses.
Absolutely.
I try to go to the markets in my area, and I'm shocked at just taking a bus to how fully loaded they are.
Yeah.
Now, the first strain, we kept screaming. I particularly was saying, I want to see the local government chairman and how the NURT chairman organize hand washing points in their parks. So because
we can actually discuss this.
We don't have it, and then there's
the truth is that schools, churches, religious places are a bit more organized. They comply. Yes. They have the 2.5-day resumptions. We have churches who they have that social distancing. So exactly.
Remove that thing from your
face. They hear you.
I cannot hear you. That's what they do.
Anyway, let's move on. I was going to take the story on from Diaspora Commission. The chairman, Nigerian Diaspora Commission, condemned in strong terms the killing of a young man, Mr. George Nkechu, a 27-year-old man that lived in Ireland. He was allegedly a man with mental illness, and he raised a knife at some of his colleagues in the shop. And the police threatened him to drop the weapon, and because he didn't drop the weapon, they shot him. And she was saying that it was wrong to shoot him. There was a way you could have disarmed him or something. There were better ways of doing it than killing this young man. It was unnecessary death, and he's going to take it up with the government. Okay, let's move on to Daily Sun. Buhari Mall's rejig of security architecture in 2021. Okay, we've heard that before. FG to borrow more as Buhari signs 2021 budget. Twisting Kuka's view on national security hypocritical, says Northern Groups. 2020, our bitter experiences by Nigerians. 2021, Kalu, Oyetola, Okowa, Autumn, others to urge Nigerians to be hopeful. And UK pledges extra £47 million to families hit by hunger and £7 million to Nigeria. Okay, which story are we taking?
So, Twisting Kuka's view.
Yes, sir.
So, of course, we know that.
Still on this Kuka story.
So, these people, this coalition of North Central Groups, Nigeria Citizens Action Group, and Northern Youth Council of Nigeria, says that people who have been twisting Reverend Matthew Kuka's view on national security is hypocritical. That what he said, 99.9% patriotic Nigerians feel that way. So it's nothing new. And instead of attacking the person, put in place, that's government, and put in place what needs to be done, for security and things like that. But it's like there's a deliberate twisting of his words, and that's just what they're saying, and calling out everybody who is calling him out.
Okay. Nigerian Tribune, I think our final paper, you have a story.
Let's take the borrowing, because we just passed our budget. Okay. The president signed our budget into law yesterday, and we have a large 13-point-something trillion budget for the year 2021, with a large amount of it going to debt servicing and a deficit of over 7 trillion that we have to borrow to meet up. So experts are already warning that we need to tighten.
Bring an expert in sometime next week to discuss
this. Because the president is challenging all the ministries and MDAs that everybody that is meant to generate revenue should work there's a target for every one of you. You must bring in money. Then the president reached out to Nigerians that all businesses should comply and pay taxes. We're going to increase and mobilize taxation in 2021 so as to generate more revenue.
We have to wrap up, but I have to mention to Nigerians that remember the Kaduna sex party was also voted. They demolished the building. They said because the building was not being used for what it was supposed to be used for. So this party, in fact, you need to go online and read the stories. You pay 2,000 naira for regular sex. You pay 5,000 naira for VIP. All sorts of in Kaduna.
No, but like, why should they demolish the building? I don't agree with that.
They demolish the building because
then
take over the building. Why demolish it? You waste. Do you know how much cement is to rebuild something else? Take over the building and use it as an orphanage or a place for homeless people. It's to stop demolishing all these things.
To recover property.
Yes, you can put it.
But they're trying to make a statement, I guess. That's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, discuss our hot topic for the day, and later we ask for your own view, your own plans for the year. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So, there was a story that caught our attention online about a family who lost a son because the mother refused to pay for medical bills because her husband refused to pay also. So the husband and wife were having issues on who's going to pay. The wife had money in her account, and she didn't want to tell her husband she had money in the account. Husband did not know the wife had money. He said, I don't have money to pay for the medical bills. Well, about 25,000 naira. So there's this back and forth. You pay. No, it's you pay. No, I don't have money. You pay. Eventually, the child died.
There's a background.
There's a background to that story.
Yes.
Give us the background.
The background to the story is that she's carried a lot of the financial burden within the household. Okay. And she feels her husband isn't responsible financially towards the family. Yes. So she wanted to teach him a lesson that every time there's a need, you'd always know that I'm the person to fall back on. Yes. So this need happened to be their daughter's health. And she didn't release the money, thinking if she withholds, probably he would find a way to raise the cash. Yes. But he didn't raise the cash, and the child died. Then later he found about 3.6 million naira in her account. So she really lost her phone. And then he got angry. Yes. And the man picked up her phone to receive a call from his mom, and then the alert came on her phone, and she saw over 3 million naira in the account, and that was what all hell broke loose, because obviously you had over 3 million naira and you didn't pay for the hospital bill for your daughter that led to her death. Yeah. So there are lots of factors here. Yeah. There's anger, there is a sense of responsibility, and the fact that because as women we take on, many of us do that, we feel that it is your responsibility now that you're not the man of the house, and you withhold what you shouldn't withhold just because you want to prove that point. So Brian, what are your thoughts when you read this story?
So first of all, I think we need to also mention that she put this story out, saying that her husband had left the house, and after all, she worked hard for her money. So we need to understand her state of mind from where she's coming from. She was like, it's her money, she worked hard for it anyway, so why is he upset? My thinking is foolishness.
Across board.
For her, first of all, as a mother, you have been very foolish concerning this particular issue. You have lost a child because of 25,000 naira out of 3-point-something million naira in your account. There are times that you can use situations to make a point. Your child's health is not that situation. You take care of your child. Many times things will come up. She herself said it, that many times he's not shown up. But the health of your child is not the time to be using to tell your husband or make a point about who should bring money or not bring money.
But sometimes a woman uses that because the health of your child is so important that you feel that it's enough to compel him.
No, that's
you
not
feel that that's enough. As a woman, you think that's enough to compel him to find that money from somewhere because he has not been very receptive. Right. So in that situation, maybe that's where she was coming from.
Oh, right. This is a new year, and we need to talk some sense into ourselves as women. I strongly believe that largely a man's role is to be responsible for the family. But I also know that a man's brain is not different from a woman's brain. And a man's capacity to earn is not different from a woman's capacity to earn. And in some cases, the woman of the house might be more financially blessed, and there should be no reason for her to judge a man that is not stepping up. I think that both male and female need to take ownership of the family for the family to work. Here, both of them dropped ball, and it cost them in life. If anybody there's no justification for you to say you want to teach your husband a lesson and withhold money from him at the expense of who? Chris Howell always says that in a family, we are all working towards one goal. We are all on the same team. You are not attacking the just like you're not scoring a goal against him. The child that died is in the team is in your team. So as long as we're saying it as he did something to me, I'm going to show him back. He does not drop money, I will not drop money.
Okay,
then we are not working on the same team and we cannot achieve the same goal
Nima,
together.
Before you come into this, to address this issue, well, in this case, a child died. But we've seen women do exactly the same thing and get results. Because there's no child involved. But you get to a point where you now say, I don't have the money. And the man then goes left, right, family, and he finds the money, and you compel him. So in this case, it didn't work out because the child died. But would you say that this is a way to get men who have refused to take responsibility? Is this a way to make them see the responsibility that they've not taken?
So let me again be obsessed with this woman for making little. The efforts of women who are breadwinners are constantly being abandoned by their spouses and not supported by their husbands. I know women who for their entire marital life are breadwinners. Yeah. I know women who have to feed their husbands along with their children and stay married and, you know, make the home work. I know women who every single day, when the bills come, don't even have where to look but themselves. For her to write this post at the time when she did it and the child died in such an insensitive way is to now make such women who maybe one time in their life decided to find the strength or bravery to stand up to that man and say, if you're not going to do your part in this marriage, maybe there's no marriage or there shouldn't be one. You know, so yes, it is the height of irresponsibility for her husband to always find an excuse because he knows she'll meet the bills. But then, I know she didn't know this would take the child of the life. And I want to say to her that the child was probably destined to die because that's the place I am now with the death of my dad every morning when I wake. Yes, no matter what you could have done, if a child was destined to go, a person was destined to go, they would go. But then, to still go ahead and put up that post and say you worked for your money is to be insensitive to yourself. So life happens. And we sometimes have to pay for decisions that we take, or the indecisions that we also take, or the lateness to even reach that decision. Yes, we sometimes have to pay. But when things like this happen, please shut up. Don't do a post. Okay, so now, the reality is she's struggling in that marriage. That's the reality.
There's no marriage now.
The guy walked out of the house, but probably they're still not divorced. She was struggling in that marriage. They had bills to pay. Even if his bill was half, at all, do something. And if we could not even do something, because it's not for everybody, some people struggle, be appreciative, be kind, yes, to the woman.
So I wanted to say that one thing I find with marriages that don't work, when it gets to a certain point, it's as if men know their breaking points. Men know when to, you see, this is not working for me anymore. And he left because for him, that was the worst thing you could have done to that family, to allow a child to die. You were not angry enough to walk out of your home when your child was left to die. Because according to you, you felt that he had it, but he did not step up to the plate. And that is the problem we have with women. You know, there's a joke that people make now. They say, women in domestic violent homes. What happens is they'll say to you, oh, my husband has killed me now. I'm in the grave. Should I still leave the marriage? Do you understand? So I'm not here campaigning for leaving the marriage. What I'm campaigning for is that you should have something that you will not take. And then you sit there, have the conversation, this is not going to happen. But you cannot come and say to me that because he has done it so many times, I worked hard for my money over the death of a child. It makes no sense to me. I think you're a very foolish woman for having done that. So even if the child got better, and you still withheld that money, you still did a foolish thing.
No. Even if the child got better and you had paid the bills, it's still a valid ground to say
you did. No, he paid.
No, I'm just saying
he paid and she got better.
I'm saying her. If she had, been forced to pay and say, even when our child was sick, Oga, you still have this attitude.
Yes.
Maybe because she has strong convictions that he had the money, but he's used to this. My wife will do it eventually when we delay a bit. It's valid ground to say, Oga, I can't continue married to you.
Okay, so
you don't know when to change.
But the proof did not come that he had the money.
No, there's no money that he had.
She's working on the assumption that he can look for the money and pay. But the proof was not that he had the money. The proof was that she had the money. You can deny your husband food. You can say, Oga, I'm not cooking for you in this house again. You will not eat. I will not work for house rent and pay for children's school fees and feed the children. I will not feed you. You can use that one to punish, but not the children's school fees.
Let me play this.
Not the children's health. Some women even use children's school fees. Their children will sit at home for almost a full term, and the women can afford it, but they'll say, it's not my responsibility. In this new year, don't do that. It is a family goal. You will not say my children will go to school because you have the money, but you are saying he must be the one to pay.
I get you clearly, but let me play this game now. Let's assume he saw her bank alert. If he will put his own bank alert open to defend himself that I truly, honestly didn't have it, before he walks out, it will be good. But don't call her witch. Because this is, like you said, a family goal. If it is, I know the way husbands, I have attempted to pay my children's school fees over time, and I always get it back. Because my husband considers it 100% his responsibility, even when I'm able to assist. So a man who is not even trying, in Islam they call it Kawamuna Allah Nisai for a reason. But now that the child is dead, you'd love to say, my wife, I saw a bank alert of 3.6 million without showing what your account. And call her the witch.
I want us to move this conversation. Listen, this woman's story, I think we should park it for a second, because the bigger story is that there are lots of women in these shoes, paying bills, and they want to teach their husband a lesson, and they want to compare. And it might not even cost something. It might cost something, you're right. But how do we help women like that in this woman's shoe not to make this kind of mistake? How do you get your husband to participate? How do you, what role do you play as a woman? Where you already answered
the question.
Because many of us have been in that situation.
No, it's a different thing if the man does not have the money. If he doesn't, if the man doesn't have the money, he wants to
There's some men that have the money and use the money to drink.
So, then you leave that marriage. You leave. Because the thing is, when you are embittered in a relationship, the result will be things like this, where you lose a child, or something, or you lose yourself. So if you are in an embittered relationship, you leave. If you, and I think we should be more compassionate and have conversations and seek consultations. I always say, before you get married, have somebody that your husband, you can report your husband to, somebody that your husband respects. You might never report, but you always damn good that name, so that there's somebody that my husband really cares for. That must always be there for your spouse. But in the case of situations like this, where you find yourself embittered and using things you shouldn't use to teach lessons, please don't do it.
Let me go to break. When we come back, unfortunately our phone lines are not working, so we'll have to take tweets and Facebook. Please send your message on Facebook, and we'll definitely read it up. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, thanks for staying with us. So today we're actually talking to women, talking to ourselves. And you see, there are different situations. I mean, when I got married, in the early days, my husband wasn't working. So if I was in this situation, I knew there was no money coming from him. So no matter how much I push, there's nothing. So I had to solely take responsibility at the time. But for this woman to expect something from him, it's either he has a job, and he's not using that money for the family. Maybe he's using it for other things. And there are women in that situation where the man has a job. He's just not responsible. So if you're in that situation, how do we talk to a woman like that, where you know that it's not as if the man doesn't have now?
Well, you see, this story is a common Nigerian story. Yes. There are many Nigerian women holding the fort, taking care of the bills in the house. First of all, let's just categorically state it, because it had to do with health. That's why I felt that she shouldn't have used the health of her child to make her point. There are many other things that a man would need in the house that if you have seen over time, and he has proven to you over time that I am just, I just don't care about you people. I don't care about the bills. I use my money elsewhere. He will not enjoy the largesse of the home. People will buy your clothes you wear. You make sure your children go to school. There's some kind of food he will not eat if he does not bring, the sort of money. So there are things where you can make sure that you put your money towards, where he doesn't get any of it, or he just enjoy it because he lives in the house.
For example, there's a story. Just to add to that, there's a story of a woman I know that I remember now that her husband could not afford a private school. She could afford a private school, but because she wanted to make a point, she allowed her child to go to the public school. Just to make that point, like, see, it's only your child will only attend the school that you can afford. And the man was fine with it.
That's the team. That's the team. So who is winning in that team?
No, the thing is...
Who wins in that?
So you as a wife can afford a private school, a better school for your child. And you feel that, you
are on the same team.
No. So
you are responsible for your children. What if you don't have a man in your life? What if there's no husband in the picture?
Yeah.
Let women, I want women in this season to step up from thinking like our mothers did responsibilities behind the scene, and they felt sad about it for years. Many women were paying school fees, they were squeezing the money out, and they were bitter about it.
Yes.
But I think that you shouldn't be bitter about it. You were able to, God empowered you for a reason. If the man chooses to be responsible, you be responsible. If you are tired of an irresponsible man, walk away from that irresponsible man.
Some people start a trend in their homes that costs them. I'm presently having a talk with a young couple and asking the man, what do you put outside for your family every month? Do you just assume
have to if he doesn't have?
But this person is very well employed. He's earning very well, but doesn't have the habit of thinking that I think my wife is working too, so she will just deal with food and deal with rent. What do you put aside for your family every month from what you earn? Do you take it out and you earn a salary every month? So I keep asking. And I wonder how the talk that Wuraola usually says, don't take over his responsibility to show love, because you will empower him not to bother about those things, and you can't blame him for it in the future. So the issue of the school, if the man, you can continue leave the children in that school, continue for the rest of your life to worry him and say the standard of education in that school is not befitting of my children. No, you can worry him. No, you can worry him to drive home a point. Let me finish. It's not necessarily lagging. When you need to say something, you say it. You say it. You want to consider a ninja. For some people, you have to fight it to get it. So you can have that conversation with him, no matter what happens. That the standard of education for your child is not what he's giving them. You can then meet him halfway and say, if you cannot meet up halfway, bring what you have. Let's meet it together. Don't tell him I can afford it. I'll pay school fees. Then you have a problem in the future, and then you blame him that he cannot meet it. He will tell you he couldn't afford it from the beginning.
Somewhere about if a man shows you that he's just an irresponsible person, but if you're in a marriage with somebody, and in so many other ways, because marriage is not all about money. There are some people that do not have the money, and it shows. So what other things does he bring to the table that makes the marriage bearable? Yes, my husband does not have the money to do this, but you know what? This is my business. He will enter the market for me. He will make sure he prices down for me. In fact, I cannot do this business without my husband's input, or backing. That there has to be a way that man shows his appreciation and that I'm going to do more, but I just can't. And I find that if you're in that sort of relationship, a woman will not find it hard to pay the bills because she understands it's a transition, and you may just very well end up in a marriage where you are the breadwinner and the man isn't. But when you are with an irresponsible man, then you have to make the choice. Do I want to continue living with an irresponsible person or not?
Yeah, I've shared this story a million. For those of you that watch your view, I've shared this story a million times. But as a wife, there's a message I read from Pastor Ibukun Awoshika. And when I got that message from her, it was a light bulb effect for me. Because she said something that was so profound at that message. She said, it's not your husband's ability to pay the bills that makes him a husband or a man. His role as the man is God ordained, first of all. So when I got the light of that message, it showed me that he cannot provide, he cannot provide. That's not what defines him as the head of the family. The definition of the head of the family is ordained by God. So that headship is there, whether you like it or not. Whether he brings
so
one
like a spiritual headship.
Yes, either brings one naira or doesn't do any money at all. If you as a woman have that understanding that even though he doesn't have at this time, I can still play that role at this time. Doesn't mean that he won't have the future. Well, when he now finally has, I think there's some time, Nima, some men might not have it too.
Forever.
There are some men that will not have it too.
Financially stronger.
There are some men that will not have it too. Let us face the facts. There are
some
men that for life
you must give value. Because we don't just argue.
So you're not bringing in the money, but you're bringing in value.
You must bring in value.
Exactly.
You must bring, and in Nima's case, some people genuinely are doing what they seem to be doing that seems like a wicked thing out of ignorance. They don't have financial intelligence. Some people never understood how to budget or how to save or how to invest. It's not wickedness. If they have it, everybody enjoy. Yes. Finish.
Hey, find it.
Such people, sometimes what your spouse might need is a course of financial intelligence. Is to take them through the learning on how to budget, how to plan. The challenge is not all men are willing to expose themselves to acquiring that kind of knowledge. But we must get to that point.
But I like the part you
must acquire knowledge.
No, I wanted to quickly accept, you know, the general you just put down now, on him being ordained.
Yes.
You know, okay, well, let me quote the Quran.
Yes.
When the man was ordained in the Quran, it includes your role as provider and defender of your family. So those men, some people just like to comfortably just hide.
Provider. You can be a provider in different ways. There are different ways of providing.
My father, God bless him, when he was still in the fire service, I remember my father would come home from Onikonde in the lagoon. He would have caught catfish and would bring it up. Is it money?
So men today will not do that.
But you know, some people don't even know. No, some people naturally don't push themselves.
Yes.
When the wife push them, I sit in my office and men will come. She nags me. She wants to, how did I even be? I said, did she even have money? Did she remember I buy that money? Please. Life is a continuous struggle to be better.
So, Mariah,
you can't blame us for wanting more, and you're not willing to even push yourself and believe in the past.
Let me let you respond very
quickly. You see that headship there you're talking about, the spiritual headship?
Yes.
We get that.
Yes.
But it has become an excuse for some people. I'm the head of the home.
Yes.
After all, I'm there, and then you do nothing. Remember, we're also talking, just based on what we've read, let's just say we're talking about an irresponsible person.
Yes.
So that's a whole different
Okay, we'll build on that.
thing.
Let's come back to continue with that. Stay with us, Breva. During the break, there was an argument in the studio, and one of our producers was saying that there's a situation whereby the wife wanted to renovate the house, the curtain, with beautiful curtains. The husband earns only 45,000 naira. The woman wants to renovate and make curtains. Says, "Uncle, how much do you have?" The man says, "I don't have a lot of money, but whatever I have, I'll give." Anyway, the next day, she went to the market and went shopping and did the house very beautifully. The man now got angry that it is pride for you to go to the market without consulting me.
I'm buying something above my means.
They'll buy something above my means, or even letting me be involved in what you're buying. So that's part of the ego. That's the male ego. That's the male ego there. Was playing out right there. So if you're a woman, you have the wherewithal to take care of your family, your children, your home, and all that. But would you now bring your standard down to adjust to Ogazo because he doesn't have that kind of money? Or do you just spend the money as you earn it, as you deem fit based on the level that you are at? That's the conversation I want to stick to. You come down.
Right, you see this ego, pride thing. I don't understand when you're supposed to be one. Are we marrying our friends or are we marrying our enemies? Why would that be something that we're angry about when it's something that uplifts everybody? We had a conversation. This is what I'd like to do. Oh, this is what I have. Why are you going to look at it only from the point that she was just trying to make me look bad? How about she realized I didn't have so much, but she can afford it and she has helped us.
Look good.
And okay, because of that, you know that bag of rice that I always ask for, I'll just make sure we have 2 more because at least my budget can cover that. Why does it have, are we marrying our enemies or are we marrying our friends? I don't get it. So people, I mean, you know, when we're talking, I was saying that for me, I just feel that there's no advising people like that. I don't even understand where the mindset comes from. I don't get it.
Mentality is work from the beginning.
Yeah, so you just, you know, the problem with the example of private school and public school, my wife has enough to be able to take the children to private school. We can put our resources together. Okay, I do not have the money for the private school, but I'll make sure that there's fuel in the car for every time that you take them to school.
The man feels, the ego part is that the man feels that once you do it, you know, it diminishes my manhood.
So we live in a country that this patriarchal society where men find their manliness from ability to dominate, you know, ability to insist and like say, this is, I am the one, I'm the breadwinner, I determine anything that happens in this house down to the color of your underwear. It makes them feel manly. So when you emasculate a man, it is actually wrong.
What emasculates him?
So, and you're dealing with different human beings. See, the exposure you and I have, the exposure our husbands have, you know, the exposure that the average other man has. We are all growing up, men grew up from different society. Some men never had any male role model. Some men had bad male role models. So when you marry a man like that, You need to now understand what are the other characters and values he has. Because if you marry a man that is very egocentric, you will have to find a way to, because you know you love him and he's good in some other areas, but he's bad in this one. You find a way to help him by exposing him to the right knowledge and the right circle. Sometimes you need to introduce your husband to your mentors and to good men, because if they don't see how good men operate, they will not know that what they are doing is wrong.
Okay,
so
what I like,
in conclusion for that one, I also think it is very important for women to communicate. Communication is important. You don't go ahead to buy furniture or transform the house and say you want to surprise your husband, or you and your husband discuss it and you know you cannot afford it and then you want to do it. I think that especially when you are married to a man that has ego issues, the man would have been displaying it. You know this man has ego issues. You will communicate and carry him
even
along.
if it's 5,000 naira he drops.
Collect it. Yes, carry him
No,
along.
carry him. No.
Please, now.
Listen, if you cannot take it, you go.
Let's
see, Mariah. No, I see where I am.
This is it.
I see there are some kind of men. You see,
Let's be
as
careful.
she said, rightly said, you can't compare the kind of men we
Yes.
have to love men. There's
Some
some men
men,
that
they
their
never
ego
just have
issues
that.
are there. So,
Yes.
Somebody you
even
just
if it's
mentioned,
5K,
he said you don't
contribute.
Somebody just talked about you keeping in and bottling and taking no responsibilities or taking things that you cannot take in your marriage. So now let's assume the case in question, she's earning higher, she's a matron, and her husband is lower. And you know, probably because of the kind of work she earns, she can afford a particular standard of living. But she's forced to live in her husband's standard of living because he wants it.
Yes.
That means he is selfish. Listen. Let me land my point. Let me land. Okay, let's assume he doesn't know more. Okay, wait now.
If he did not know more in year,
let me not finish, please.
Let's assume he doesn't know more. You can afford it. You can take, my wife's counsel to her is take whatever is giving you for that project. Add your own. Give yourself the standard of life that you want. But if you cannot afford to bring the money, still give yourself the standard of life that you want. If you can afford it, why punish yourself? Notice she's in a class of people that she needs to make that impression for them. Wait. She works in a place where if they come to her house, they will not only look down at her husband too. So if she can afford to the children, the life. No, you're not just living for people. No, you can afford it for yourself. You know to do good about yourself.
There's this story that people say.
Why will you suffer because
you get married and you are living in VI, your husband is living in Alagbadu.
You now live.
Your husband now says, my house is in Alagbadu.
I told you of the wedding now, in my very presence.
So the marriage, just know that if you cannot compromise,
ask Larry Olushola on this topic.
If you cannot compromise to make the marriage work. So if it's that two things,
two people compromising.
Yes, two people compromising. But the man is the head of the house. So your job is to now convince your husband to see the value of upgrading his life from Alagbadu to maybe middle ground.
Wait. Let me share this example.
It's to convince him, not to insist.
Nima and Mariam. So you are the wife, and you want to do this beautiful renovation in your house, and the man is saying, "Sorry, we can't afford it. I can't afford it." Say, "Don't worry, you don't have to spend money." The man is insisting. You now go to him and say, "Okay, please, I know you don't have them. Whatever you have." And she said, "We're not going to do it. We can't afford it." He insists that you must not do it. As a wife, should you go ahead and do it? No, you wouldn't.
Thank you.
Your husband has said no. That's it.
Thank you.
You want to increase your standard. You are a better kid. He has said no.
Then usually,
when they say no, it's usually listen. You don't need the marriage because men like that, they say no not because they don't want to do it, but they want to prove a point. Accept the no first with wisdom.
Thank you.
After a while, instead will call his people. That thing you wanted to do. Many times they call you back later. It can be months later.
He will even put it completely.
Yes, he could. Or he will support. So at that moment, you should not disobey. At that moment, accept.
May you people not be in that situation.
No,
I know a person. Wait now. I know
managing their
life. Somebody who waited 10 years and things didn't improve. Now, you secretly continue to live that lifestyle.
You're not waiting.
No.
You don't just
wait. Now, let me land.
Let me tell you how
don't just wait.
You live that life. You live two lives.
I want to hear
You live two lives because you want to remain married. So you can afford a life. Yes, now, you are living that life along with your, in the outside. And when you come home, you come down to your God level. Oh, God, let's just come to married.
You are married.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's do it the other way around. So people are saying that we should not step up. Is what we were saying. Because we have married a person with a particular mindset and he has not shown any growth. You too, please do not step up.
Don't grow.
Just stay there. Because men handle this differently. I remember at the time when military was in power and a man, a military officer, he's in the barracks. One day, coup happens. He becomes governor. he will say he will now marry the first lady that will enter that office. Then we meet the new office. Because, madam, all the time we're embarrassed when I say good school, you have refused. You have refused to go to school. You have refused to improve yourself. Now see where we are today. Until I can't carry you. I've taken someone. They don't waste time. They move. Why is it that women are afraid to grow, to push their men to grow? Sometimes the men give you what you allow them to give you. Yes. If he understands that, see, this is where we're headed. We're not saying don't have a conversation. We're not saying be rude to the person or show pride. We're saying have this conversation. Take it one step at a time. But you must show growth now. If the woman is learning to be more patient, you too, you should show that you are moving on. Absolutely. I don't understand that. I agree with you, but there's a way to bring it to.
And we don't want blatant disobedience. We need to be strategic. So if you sit down and you wait for 10 years and there's no change, then you also are not being strategic. Like I said, while you're waiting for him to change, you deliberately push him to information that would expand his mind. Some people in their head, they don't understand what is MDF and HDF or screening the wall, or why you should paint or buy these verses that are expensive. They don't see it until you expose them to that life.
So improve yourself,
improve them, improve yourself. Start exposing him. Don't force it. Don't push it. He will grow because he's a product of the mindset of many years of that life. Don't fight it. Yes. And many times it's not a power tussle. Yes. We can't have two captains in a ship. So we must find our subtle way of achieving our goals. We would upgrade the family. We will live a better life, which is what we all want. Yes. Our children will go to good schools. But if we fight and we lose the marriage, except you've seen that this man is a totally wrong person, that he cannot work, then you move away. But if there are good things inside, don't be
have to run. Unfortunately,
finally, be careful who you marry.
Before you marry, this 2021, all of you that want to marry, open your eyes.
On a break. We have wrapped up on this. When we come back, we'd like to hear. We didn't read any tweets. Everybody, fight.
We will fight.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For me, I think the lady should have to the child's health if she could. Your child is your child, whether your husband is capable of providing or not. Lady Silva Onowu says, my dear ladies, there's no reason to defend this woman because she should have used other means to get back at her husband and not when life is involved, especially that of her child. Omona, 9 months so with hard labor. Supreme Daddy says, the main problem of marriages is patriarchy. In an egalitarian society, caring for the family will be for both parties. Ways to avoid problems of finance. Have candid talks when courting. Have anyone?
Okay, Florence Eggy says, the woman is not stupid and wicked man. She is not human. Opoluwa Martins Disability says, a man that can't provide for his family is worse than an infidel. Being the head of the home is not only spiritually, but physically and financially. Owe Uyo just reacted that this is rubbish.
Coach Muda
Jr. says, no matter what I think it's not healthy to put anyone's health as a way of teaching your spouse a lesson. Even if your man doesn't have, and you do, there are ways you can sponsor the bill and get it back from him. Women naturally has the bottom power. Okay.
Samsonite Balogu says, Happy New Year, lovely ladies. I'm so pained this morning. I would totally blame the woman. What happened to Abiyamo? Why can't she pay the money and pretend to disturb the so-called useless husband? Why gamble with the life of your daughter, Haba? And
Ali Joanna says, some men don't have money, but they fill the gap by making sure the children are at the top of the classes. Also, they guide and support their wives' businesses or job and ensure that her success, that she's successful, which is priceless.
So let me just read from Facebook. Florence says, society has turned women into morons in the name of marriage. I beg, being married is not one of the criteria for heaven. I refuse to be stagnated by a man who has horrible ego. In such case, move. Why live in poverty when you can afford to change for better? Nima is making sense. Many Nigerian women are so selfish, they don't mind pretending to be poor instead of spending their money on their own family. That's a different one.
Okunade Adedamola says, leadership not about ego. It's about putting the welfare of your family first, even before yours. A lot of men, to them, it's about ego. And I think
so. I think we can wrap up on that. So I think we also said earlier that it's about a team. All of you are together in the house, regardless of who's bringing in the money. Once you see that she's doing it, and because there's a perception that what she's doing, she wants to show that she's she's the man of the house. But if you have the perception, I know she's doing it because she loves the family and she wants to support the team, and you support the entire thing. So if we see that as value, then we shouldn't be having any issues. Okay, so we have to wrap up very soon, but it's important that we cannot wrap up the show without sharing our plans for the year. What would you like to do for what are your dreams, aspirations? what would you like 2021 to look like? What would you, nobody predicted what 2020 looked like. You know, we never had an idea, but we can also dream. You know, we can also dream and aspire for new things. So let me hear the ladies, and we'll also like to take some tweets on our viewers. What are those kind of things you'd like to do this year? Tokwe, I know you always have a plan, so you better just start with you.
Oh my God. I've written scary goals, and I've started working on them since 2020. But what I really want to do in 2021 is to expand on the areas that God brought me into. So in 2020, everywhere I usually would have made money dried up, obviously during the lockdown. So I had to, I was thinking, and it wasn't like it was from serious brain work, it was just God. I stumbled my way into agric. Everybody that knew me before 2020 knew that I was not a farmer before 2020. But 2020 brought me into farming, and 2020 brought me into real estate. And for me, that was a game changer for my finances, for my drive. And in 2021, I want to expand and rebrand fully as someone that deals in real estate and agricultural investments opportunities. So that's the frontier. So I'm not taking makeup bookings anymore. I told myself that, I'm not doing makeup anymore at all, personally, no more. I've stopped in 2021. Whoa. Yes. From this year on, I'm not doing makeup.
So what would Ewabella brand do then?
I'll have, the company is going to
doing micro shading?
No, the company will go on with my...
Okay, you will not be personally involved.
I personally, Tokwe Makodige is not doing makeup.
Okay.
But Ewabella would continue to do makeup and exist. My staff there would continue working.
Okay, so if I have like
a
weekend touring Europe or a week touring Europe, and I need a makeup artist with me, I'm not doing and everything.
No, I've dabbled in and out last year and for the past years, just doing it a bit. But this year, I'm taking that part out for myself.
So that's as regards what anything exciting.
So, for me, my husband said something, because we don't talk about family. My husband said something to me as we crossed into the new year, and he said he has just one prayer that in this year we will work together as one unit. Because I'm very driven, I'm going here, and he's going, and all of us we're running, but we're not. He said he wants synergy in this household. Like, I want you to finish my sentences, I want you to finish my dreams. And when he said that, I was like, okay. I said, we need to print this out and put it in our house, because we need reminders so that we know that we're working towards this.
Mariam, anything?
Okay, so for me, with all the negativity that came 2020, many good things happened for me in 2020, and especially with my family. So yes, church, we were not able to go to church, but we started doing church in my house every Sunday. And my children have got to the point where they lead church. So we have become more bonded, more intimate in my house. It has been such a huge blessing in that regard. And I also have this very bad habit where I don't keep in touch with people, you know. I take loved ones almost for granted. So I love you, they know I love them, but I'm not actively showing it. So so this is something I want to take on to 2021 to do better in actively being involved with friends, with family, with loved ones, people that have just sacrificed a lot, to be where I am today. So that's something I'm working on. For me also, all the material goals, the monetary goals, I've learned that a lot rests on me and my habits. It's about consistency. These goals are just almost the same. I look through my journal and I'm like, I saw this goal was there last year and it was there. So it's about me being consistent, and that's what I need to work on. Consistency.
Fantastic. Nima, any things this 2021?
So I usually don't do the resolutions like everybody does, but my husband is a big dreamer. So I usually just tag along his dreams. Because when we used to dream apart, we didn't work. Something since 2015, we had the talk, and I've always just let him lead. And it really works amazingly. I've started a business recently, and I see the turnover, and I'm just looking at him that this man, you should like money. Because my sister-in-law had named him Chideja and Amamaka, because we are supposed to be Igbos, we are too goal-oriented. But we're trying to set up something that gives us time for my children. The truth is, the kind of schedules that we run together leaves our children, thank God for support systems, but leaves our children a lot of times in hands of support system. So I'm coming and I'm doing redressing every evening. That was not the dream. You know, I had my parents, mother and father available all my life, even into my marriage. And I would love to be available more than I am now for my children. So yes, that will be for 2021, but 2020.
You made money in 2020. Oh, for good.
No, I became a rice merchant in 2019.
Don't talk about that in 2019.
But 2020, the reality of the shortness
of life
and the purpose of life has really, really become close. Because yes, I've lost a lot of loved ones in my past, but I lost a loved one dearest to me in my presence, in my hands. And I saw the way life would live. I grew overnight. I told my husband, I said, as if then you can't even do anything. There's nothing that, as in, I just want to love you and just love you. I don't even have time for anything. Every single second is too important for me to waste. You know? So I've seen how this year, I just found out that a friend of mine, very close friend of mine from school, is missing for the past 1 year. And you know, the reality of not knowing whether he's alive or he's dead is almost running me mad, along with the grief of my father's death, because it happened within the same period, the news came. So for me, a lot of things that we joke about. Yes, it's good to have grandeur plans, you know, dreams and all of that. I have one, but I've consistently now, especially since my lockdown, because we had to stay indoors. Myself, all 4 members of my family, only us inside our house. We saw what was most important. I had time to cook morning, afternoon. I know how to cook, but I'm just lazy in the kitchen. For that period, I wasn't lazy. I would use the remedies personally with my hands, and I didn't. All those things didn't matter. So let's focus on what is most important for the next year. Let's focus on ourselves, our family, and let's just love, you know, and enjoy life.
All right.
Morayo,
so
we're not running, you know.
No, because I was trying to wrap up because
you can come in.
Yes, I can come in. But yeah, so for me,
40.
I turned 40 last year. Yeah, so
it's already last
this
year.
year I really want to. One of the reasons why I left TVC was I wanted to make more money. I wanted to do other things. I was grateful to God, for God was amazing. I mean, he introduced me to so many people that I've been able to consult and do things. But I want to do something that is my skill, that's me, that is not dependent on a company or somebody else. I want to learn something. So I have a few things, and I'm thinking of so many things. I don't know. I just hope, I pray to God to give me focus. Because there are a few things I'm thinking about, which I will share with you guys privately. Okay. But I think that I just ask God to just give me direction, so I can use one. Because all the other things I'm doing are not mine. Anything can go anytime. So I need something that is mine, that is me, that I'm building something. And that's what I want to focus on in 2021. And on the fun part, I've been asking God for this. I just want to travel. You know, since I got barred from the US stuff, and I have not traveled. I just got depressed. I just never. I used to travel to the UK, to different countries. I go to Dubai. I go to Kenya. You know, but after the US thing happened, it just depressed me. I just didn't want to go to any embassy again. I just dumped my passport somewhere, and since then I've not really done anything. But
how many countries do you want to go?
So this 2021, I want to travel to at least a few countries. Let me just go.
You have to be specific.
I need to go, right?
Just say 2, so that I would hold. You know
Ghana and South Africa. Okay. I've never been to Ghana before. This 2021, I want to go to Ghana and I want to go to South Africa. Okay. After that, hopefully, by God's special grace and mercy, US will release me, because I have a lawyer that's working on the matter in the US. Hopefully, they release me. You know, Dubai, I haven't been to Dubai. I've been to Dubai once, you know, but I like to go. But Dubai, everybody's going to Dubai. We've seen everything already. I have followed all of them to Dubai on Instagram. I like to go to Ghana.
You do. I'll follow up with you. In the first quarter, you go to Ghana. We're going to make that happen.
The Ghana one is
very easy. You go to
Ghana? I want to go to Ghana. All right. I'm sorry. I don't mind. It would be nice to see
them for family. You have a very big family. Yeah. I want to host Mariah, and I was telling my husband, like, how am I going to, like, when Mariah wants to come, you come with 4 children, or you come with grandma, and I don't want her to say, I want Mama to come to my house.
They will assist me carrying the baby.
Yes, I want Mama to come, because I want Mama to pray. Yeah. You know, so I'm like, she has to come with Mama and grandma, and that's 6, so that her husband and herself, and like that, so there'll be 10 of us, that will come to the house. I said, okay, let's plan for Mariah. Exactly.
Okay, that's all we can take on the show. We don't finish now.
We still have time. What's What are we looking for 2021 with the family front? Do you have one more shade or?
Child.
Are you okay? They send you to me. My enemies, I reject you.
No, but it looks like,
you need a girl.
Are you looking for a girl?
You need a girl.
People are just looking for
Everybody,
a girl.
let's join hands. You shall have a girl.
No. Someone said, no. Someone said that. But you say when we move to a new house, we'll have a baby. We'll have a baby every day. I say no.
We have to run, guys. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show. But 2020,
Happy New Year.
2020, as I said, was a bittersweet for many of us.
Yeah.
Many sweet parts. Many of us learned. We bonded with our families. I had a lot of bonding this past year with my family, just like everybody else. And we also had breakthroughs. You know, you got a new house, you got new things, you got a new business, and I got new consultancy jobs, and we thank God. And we pray 2021 will be a good year for all of us.
All of
our
us.
viewers.
New beginnings.
Please send us your testimonies, your plans for the year. We'd like to retweet, send it to us so we can retweet. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.